Welcome into this Thursday edition of Bengals Breakdown. I am your host, Stone Shields. Appreciate you guys making time for us here today. Got a pretty stacked show coming your guys' way here on a Thursday. There's a surprise Bengals player that's really making a difference for this football team. When I say surprise, I mean it's kind of what the media is viewing as a surprise, but he's somebody that we've talked about at length here on Bengals Breakdown, particularly leading up to the 2024 season. So we'll spend some time on that particular player. Also, could Jordan Battle be seeing more playing time as time goes on? He got the most snaps he has gotten in 2024 last week on Sunday Night Football against the Giants. Also, we'll spend some time talking about the running backs, Chase Brown and Zach Moss, who have had a really solid start to the season here in 2024 and really have helped create a balanced attack for this Zach Taylor offense. Also, there's a particular pass rusher that is really, really good at football that could potentially be traded. So we got to talk about that guy, of course, considering the Bengals really could use another pass rusher to kind of pair with Trey Hendrickson. So that's the docket. That's all coming your way here on Bengals Breakdown. But first, make sure you guys hit that sub button if you have not done so already. We are trying to beat October of 2023 here at Bengals Breakdown. We only need 12 subs here to do that. So we should be able to do that within 20 minutes of this video coming out. So help us out, help yourself out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/Bengals TV. Pretty much daily Bengals videos coming at you guys every single day, as well as our watch parties on game days as well. So help us out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/Bengals TV. So this particular player has really made a massive difference on this Cincinnati Bengals football team. He was a 2022 fifth-round draft choice by the Cincinnati Bengals, and his name is Tycen Anderson. He has been absolutely unbelievable for Darren Simmons on that special teams unit. Like I said, Anderson, a fifth-round pick a couple of seasons ago, and it really hasn't been super easy for Anderson as he's gotten into the league. He spent pretty much all of the 2022 regular season on IR with a quad injury. Now, he could have been activated at some point a couple of weeks into that season, but the Bengals were really crowded at that safety department back then with Jesse Bates, Von Bell, of course, who is now back with the team. Trey Flowers was getting some snaps there at safety as well. And Michael Thomas, who's one of the best special teams players in the NFL, really, the past decade or so, was a part of that team. So Tycen Anderson never really got to get going. And in 2023, he absolutely went off in the preseason and then played, those first 7 or so games for this Bengals football team and really did a nice job on special teams that year. But then he tore his ACL, suffered that significant injury, and, we hadn't heard from him, obviously, since then. And he's been able to come on this year, and, boy, he's been moving around really, really well, doing an excellent job for Darren Simmons' unit on special teams. Like I said, at that safety position. He's really just a gritty guy, right? Played his college ball at Toledo, was there for 5 years. He's an Ohio guy, and really just made it out the mud. Came from a part of town in Toledo that not a lot of people can make it out of, and he just kept his head to the grindstone and was able to pull through, and has been a really massive part to this Bengals football team. It'll be interesting to see if he ever gets any defensive snaps, if something were to happen to one of these safeties here. But Tycen Anderson, boy, I've been really excited with what I've seen from him coming back from that knee injury. You never know after a big injury like that how you're going to, necessarily get back into the swing of things. But Tycen Anderson has been absolutely awesome and has been a real boost for this Bengals football team. That leads us to the pinned comment of today's video. Grade Tycen Anderson for us so far this season. A, B, C, D, or F in the comment section. Let us know what you think. This is absolutely an A for me. But sound off for us in the comments if that ad comes here on YouTube. That's totally fine. Take advantage of it. Get down in the comment section and let us know what you think. All right, now let's spend some time talking about another safety in Jordan Battle. Could more playing time be coming for Jordan Battle? Jordan Battle played 14 snaps on defense last week, which was a season high for him. When you take a look at kind of the breakdowns as far as those safeties go, I was surprised to see, Geno Stone get pretty much all of those snaps, right? I feel like Geno Stone's kind of struggled there at that free safety spot. It hasn't been as good as maybe we expected coming over from Baltimore. But, getting some more rotation in there at that safety position, that's not something that Lou Anarumo typically likes to do at that spot. He really likes to just keep it to two guys. But bringing a guy like Battle in has been, kind of a boost, I think, last week, kind of keeping Von Bell a little fresher, right? And keep in mind, coming into this year, I think a lot of people considered Jordan Battle to be a guy that could challenge, one of those safeties to really get significant playing time. As, we saw there with those stats, Jordan Battle did a really nice job in 2023 kind of filling in for Nick Scott when his number was called upon. So I think Jordan Battle's a guy that has a really bright future for this football team. I think he's the best reserve player that this team has at any position, and it was good to see him get worked into the lineup a little bit more on Sunday night against the Giants. We'll see if that happens again on Sunday against Cleveland. Another opportunity for you guys to get interactive with our show here at Bengals Breakdown. Do you want to see Jordan Battle get more playing time? Type Y for yes, N for no. Let us know in the comments section. This is a Y for me. I really like what Von Bell's been able to do, but I don't think there's any reason to be hesitant in terms of getting more safeties involved into a rotation. Thought Jordan Battle played well in limited snaps on Sunday. Continue with our show here in a moment, but first, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time, because today's show is presented by Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks is the easiest way to find and buy tickets to live events. Tickets for this weekend's game against the Cleveland Browns are on sale now if you want to make that trip up north to see the Bengals, or wait until they come home the following week and take on the Philadelphia Eagles. But regardless, head on over to Game Time and get the best deals possible. My two favorite features on Game Time: the seat views. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy with Game Time. Secondly, the all-in pricing. Toggling this feature up front allows you to see your total up front so you don't get hit with any of those surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. I want to spend some time talking about the running backs here for a little bit on today's show. First time we saw Chase Brown take that next step and get more snaps than Zach Moss this season at the running back position. We've been talking about Chase Brown a lot this year. We've been really pleased with just the burst that he has. The change of speed between these two backs is something that really sticks out to you. Not to say that Zach Moss isn't a good back, because, I think he got a lot of criticism there the first couple of weeks, but he's really came on and carved himself out a nice role. He's a nice veteran player, cerebral player. Obviously, his fumble against New York last week was unacceptable. Chase Brown had a fumble as well. Luckily for him, it went out of bounds. But these two guys at the running back position for Cincinnati have really enabled the Bengals to have more of a balanced attack this year. And I think going into the season, Zach Taylor made it a point to go out there during a press conference, or I believe it was a sit-down interview with Kay Adams, and say he feels like the running backs are kind of the most disrespected group on this team. Nobody really giving them credit for what they can do, and he's been right to this point. Like I said, Bengals really have been able to have a balanced attack, and that's going to be crucial against Cleveland to be able to do that, because if they can't run the football, that's just going to allow their front to really pin their ears back and just tee off on the quarterback. And the Bengals really can't afford that. Can't afford Joe Burrow to take the kind of punishment he took last week against the Giants. That's not something that you can kind of sustain for a long period of time. Look, nobody's tougher than Joe Burrow, but they got to find a way to run the ball. And it all starts with those two guys, Zach Moss and Chase Brown. I think you got to be really pleased with what those guys have been able to do so far this year. So we asked this question a lot in the offseason. Pick a running back between the two. If I had to lean one way, I would go with the younger guy, Chase Brown. But I'm interested to know where you guys are at here with this same question 6 weeks into the season. So pick a running back. Type CB if you're thinking Chase Brown. Type ZM if Zach Moss. I get it. I like the whole two-headed monster kind of thing here that the Bengals are doing. But in crunch time, you got to have one guy out there. Also, a couple of snaps that we saw both guys out there, which was certainly exciting. But pick between the two in a big moment. Who do you want, Chase Brown or Zach Moss? Before we get out of here, I got to talk about a little trade rumor out there right now. Look, obviously, you pay attention to the Las Vegas Raiders whatsoever, you understand that they're struggling pretty mightily here in 2024. And that was, pretty easy to predict that considering they don't have a quarterback, right? And Maxx Crosby is one of the best players in the National Football League, period. Any position. I think the world of Maxx Crosby, and he is an incredible player. So if you're any team in the National Football League, you should be calling about the availability of Maxx Crosby. Now, obviously, he's very expensive. He's a really good player, kind of outlined here by what Spotrac was able to put out on Twitter. So, again, this would be completely out of character for the Bengals to do something like this. I feel like anytime we talk trades, that sentence is coming out of my mouth at some capacity. But it's all right to daydream a little bit about what it could be like to have Maxx Crosby line up opposite of Trey Hendrickson. Still have a role for Sam Hubbard, but to have him on your football team would be absolutely outstanding. I would go as far as to say it would make the Bengals a Super Bowl contender right now if they were to get a guy like Maxx Crosby. That's how good I believe Maxx Crosby to be, but it doesn't even seem like anybody is going to be getting in on the Maxx Crosby sweepstakes. Here's what owner Mark Davis of the Las Vegas Raiders had to say as far as trading Maxx Crosby. He said, "It's unfortunate today, but there's so much outside chatter that is not true. It's not coming from any sources. It's not coming from anything. My basic thing is never to answer all that stuff because otherwise you get trapped in this black hole. It's just not happening." And look, I completely understand this. If I am Mark Davis, he's really a cornerstone to your piece, to your franchise, right? Maxx Crosby. He really kind of bleeds the silver and black, right? He's kind of one of those main Raider guys. And it seems like he's content sticking around in Las Vegas. So I think this kind of next wave of Raiders football where they try to figure out who their quarterback's going to be, they want to build around a pass rusher in Maxx Crosby. And it doesn't seem like he wants to go anywhere. And, of course, Mark Davis would have to be pretty silly to want to move off a guy like Maxx Crosby because he really is one of the best players in the NFL. But I do think it's fair to wonder what the Bengals could potentially look like with a stud like Maxx Crosby lining up, rushing the passer in stripes. Before we get out of here, make sure you guys give me a follow over on Twitter. Trying to get to 500 followers by the end of the month at Stone Shields _ is my handle. So go give me a follow over on Twitter. All of our Bengals Breakdown content will be posted to my page. So give me a follow on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Stone Shields _.